Good. Well, now afternoon, Miss Shara LeValley.
Yep.
I'm here. I am Mike Ireland on this end of the camera, um, reflecting on my coaching piece with Miss LaValley. This is also the same person that I did my interview with and has been working here at the Academy in this literacy specialist role for how many years now?
Oh my goodness. I've been with the school for 24 years, and I think I've only been in the literacy position for 9 or 10. I'd have to look it up for sure.
The time all flies. So we've only been here 5 minutes each, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so that all of our people at home can see our this coaching plan. And let me know when you see it on your end.
You have to click off because all I'm seeing is me.
How about now?
There we go. We're good.
Perfect. Yeah, there have been some updates on Zoom, so I'm still getting those new updates down here. All right, just kind of introduce this for those of you keeping score at home. I picked the second grade teacher who we've discussed a little bit about AI in previous weeks. I think I'm going to try to zoom in on just a little bit here. If you're at home, it's going to be a little bit difficult to read all of this. Let's go with that. There we go. Slightly better.
That's
Um,
good.
so I'll go through each section and then I will ask you to share what your thoughts were on my plan. All right. So the first one, the goal. The goal of this coaching session is to share related or ideas related to using technology in the development of literacy materials with a focus on Achieve the Core, Chat GPT, and DIFIT. The goal is to reduce prep time by at least 33%. Random number, I know. I will use a combination of a discussion of a short journal article and then modeling the creation of a second grade lesson plans and materials using the applicable online tool. Your thoughts on that section?
Do you have a measurable goal? I see you had said the goal is to reduce prep time by at least 33%. Do you have an initial how long prep time was, or what you're looking for a measurable goal?
That's a fair question. Obviously, I don't because I've never asked her to say, "Hey, how long does it take?" Maybe it's going to have to be a where she perceives as taking more time. It may not be quite as measurable um, based on the fact that I'm kind of working on the prep side. But that's a good point. I don't think there's a way for me to measure 33%.
Right. What you could do is have a question, and you might have this later, but a question when you meet with her again for a follow-up coaching session. Ask if this how if she feels this is going to save her time, and how she might measure that, or stating, did it save you time, or did you just fall down that wormhole and it actually was multiple hours longer than you had planned. And we had said this before because I've just started messing around with Chat GPT and looking at the different things, and I haven't looked at Diffit yet. But it initially it's going to take me more time getting to learn those things, but I can see that it will save me time later.
Miigwech. For those who are keeping track at home, miigwech means thank you. All right, our next section, description of context and why this goal. I chose this goal based on conversations I've had with the second grade teacher named above, Mrs. Spickerman. You know her, Mr. Waldron. Both of us are looking at using digital resources to better prepare our lessons and more efficiently develop materials. Because this is a shared goal, there's the opportunity to share ideas and feedback as we move through the coaching cycle. We have experience using older digital resources when we work together on the same team, so we have a trust in each other, making the prospects of a positive coaching session that much better. Another motivating factor is that both of us spend more than our fair share of time at the school developing materials for our students, and both of us would benefit from becoming comfortable with tools that have the potential to make our jobs more efficient. Your
Looks
thoughts?
good. I would just say, just remembering that it might be a little bit longer at the beginning, learning the new digital tools, but having an output later that will save time.
Appreciate that because I I can relate that the wormhole is deep.
Yes.
The shortest section on here is the planned length of coaching session. 3 cycles of reading and discussing a short journal entry, coaching and modeling, implementation and reflection. Each will focus on a different of those 3 aforementioned resources. Your thoughts?
Looks good. Do you have a plan if you can't meet in person? Can you Zoom? Can you cover that with an email? Or are you going to try and do a face to face?
That's a fair question. Honestly, I think any of those would work. I mean, can't say I can't do a Zoom when we're talking about technology and making our lives easier. Uh, but that is something that is not reflected in there. So I do appreciate that. All right, our next section, specific objectives to achieve in the coaching session. Our partner will be able to create literacy materials using ChatGPT. Partner will be able to create literacy materials using Diffit that can utilize Google products. Partner will be able to use Achieve the Core to identify disciplinary vocabulary to be taught to students. Your thoughts?
The first two look good. The last one, what vocabulary are you looking at? Science, social studies? Is this a literacy lesson, or has that not been determined yet?
And it's not determined yet, but what my thinking was to show how to use Achieve the Core, where you can copy and paste sections of your online materials. I haven't tried using if I scanned it with a PDF. That's my next step for me to
Hmm.
try. But we could put in, here's this section into it and then have it give us some ideas of literacy, vocabulary that we might need to teach both above level, at level, and even a little bit below level. So it's not really determined. I was more thinking of being able to use the resource in whatever discipline we really wanted to. I would probably be best while thinking about what you said to maybe pick a subject for the initial coaching session because it might be just too many tools that we can play with.
Or that might come later in the second or third coaching session after they're familiar with the materials and you've kind of had some discussion about troubleshooting. And then maybe in that third coaching session, you could say, okay, now I want you to come up with a list of vocabulary. And then they can choose, well, I'm going into a science section that I might want to look at, or social studies, or, even language arts.
So you're kind of suggesting maybe splitting this into 2 different events. One where I kind of model it, and then 2 letting her, and then in another session actually see how it's worked. So there's more reflection time.
I think that would be a good idea. Yep.
All right, perfect.
Just to
And
kind of check in and make sure they're familiar with the materials, and then that action goal, what you want them to do.
awesome, miigwech. All right, our next section is the timeline, which may obviously be impacted slightly by what we've already talked about today.
Yep.
Prior to the session, we would reread the applicable journal article, and I would provide that article to her. It's listed in the site down here, um, so that we could read it, talk about it briefly, uh, discuss that entry and the level of comfort with the tool in question. So if she's like, yeah, I've been using Chat GPT, then we might be able to kind of just say, oh, show me how you've done it. And it probably doesn't need to be a part of the coaching session, whereas some of these others might. So that conversation would be about 5 to 8 minutes. Then model how I use it, just kind of showing maybe using my 5th grade material, but even better, if I'm going to use a 2nd grade material, say, here's a 2nd grade standard, here's something I can do with it. Observe how they do it. We'll give them some time to practice it and then reflect on where they are after they've had a chance to use it. I believe either in our preview of this or earlier on, we kind of talked about needing reflection time. I think that's where that's where I definitely would need to give them a little more time and then come back to them. Your thoughts?
Yep, I think that's good. Even where you said prior to session, both participants should reread the application journal article, maybe say, and be prepared to share 3 things from the article. And you
Okay.
both share the 3 things. And then that way, if it's the same 3 things, you're good to go. Or if maybe there was something, a question about it, and it could be 3 things in a question, but kind of give an something for them to do with that article.
All right, miigwech.
I do
And,
like the modeling. Modeling is really the discussion, talking with the person and then modeling. And you don't have this, but it probably is packed in there. When you model, ask some questions, do you see how you can use this in your classroom? And that's just going to come naturally with that coaching session. But just
and
wanted to mention it.
no, I appreciate that because that kind of will tie right into the reflection, you know.
Yep.
Because if I share a resource and they're like, yep, I'm never going to use this, then okay, then we know where they are at that point on this.
Yes.
And maybe I have to find some more resources. Or maybe I'm going to find out that they have a better resource. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's about it for that part. Any again, I want to say miigwech for doing this. Any final thoughts that you have before we wrap this up?
Do you have a plan if you see that you're going to need more than 3 coaching sessions?
I didn't list one, but I think you bring up a good point is maybe some of those sessions might have to be split into multiple sessions. So like coaching session 1 on Chat GPT, maybe we need 2 sessions to do it. Because I think my idea of trying to put it all together is probably shoehorning too much into too little bit of a time, and to give
It could be. It might just depend on how comfortable they are. Karen is, because I know she's kind of at the same level I am. We're really kind of learning. So this might be really eye-opening, and she might need, okay, I need a little bit more time to, so just making sure you have that built in there if you need it.
I like that because maybe we need that natural break between the reflection may have to come later.
Right.
Perfect. I want to say miigwech. I'll stop the video and then finish our chat offline. But I want to thank you for taking your time out of your busy summer schedule and to have this discussion. So, chi miigwech.
You're welcome.